That's all. So we got 7 pies. Is 7 pies enough for you guys? No? You want 10 pies?
No, 8.
No, okay. Well, we'll give it to you. If there's an extra, I'll take it. Anyways, one of the things that I wanted to share with you, we actually hinted it last week, but we're going to go a lot deeper. The Gemara in Megillah, I think it's Daf Yud Beis, on page 12. I just have to say that to show off that I know the Gemara, but I don't know much Gemara. Especially I'm a Chabadnik, I have to show off that we know Gemara, not just Tanya. So anyway, just this was a Lashon Hara. Please don't worry about it. They learn Gemara. Every chug is part of Yiddishkeit. There's no organization, no yeshiva that does not learn Gemara. They all do. Anyway, so over there the Gemara says, what was the sin of the people at the time of Mordechai and Esther that such a destruction happened for them, such a bad gzeira? So then they asked this of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says, you tell me, tells the students, you tell me, Mipnei ma, what was the reason that they deserved destruction? So the students of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai said, let's look at the words of the Gemara, very important to know, please guys, we're in the same team. Guys, in the back, if you don't want to be part of the class, if you can walk out, I have no problem. So it says, because Shenehnu Meseudato Shel Oto Rasha. The Gemara says, because they enjoyed the meal of that Rasha, which is Achashverosh. He made a meal and the Jews went and they enjoyed it. That's why they deserve to get destroyed. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai asks a question from them. Only people of Shushan went to that party because it says he made it for a week in Shushan. What about the Jews all over Persian, empire? They didn't go to the Sauda. So then the students didn't know. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai says because the generation before, in times of Nebuchadnezzar, they bowed down to an idol. That's what the Gemara says. He brought this huge idol in a flat land, and he threatened the Jews, if you don't bow down to it, I'm going to kill you. So now the question that I'm telling you, not only one, tens of the Mefarshim ask. So it comes out, people of Shushan enjoyed the meal. The other people, they were getting destroyed because of bowing down to the idol. Now what happens? What's the worst thing, guys? You tell me. What's the worst thing that they did by enjoying the meal? They went to the party. What's the greatest sin that they did? They ate non-kosher food. Is there death penalty for eating non-kosher food? Of course not. Go ahead. What was that? Oh, you're making the question even bigger. Fantastic. You're making it even bigger. But hold on. You're making the question bigger. So, 1 second. No, that wasn't the problem. The worst thing they could have done is they would have eaten non-kosher food. Number 2, the Gemara says, when it says the Suda was kirtzon ish ve'ish, according to the will of this man and that man, simply it means was according to the will of everybody, no forcing. If you want to eat, you eat. You want to drink, you drink. Nobody's going to force you. But the Gemara says ish ve'ish means Haman and Mordechai. They had non-kosher food the way Haman wanted it, and that kosher food the way Mordechai wanted it. Now, no matter who is the most strict catering, if Mordechai is the mashgiach there, or he actually puts his people to be mashgiach, you have nothing to worry about. It's the most strict kosher food. So according to that, they didn't do any sin. Why is the Gemara saying that they had hanoah, that because they had pleasure from that seuda? Yes.
What's the reason why Ahasuerus made the parties? Because he made a calculation that Jews wouldn't be redeemed.
Right.
And so they're celebrating that. They went to
That's very good. That's the answer. I want to get to a third answer. What the answer that he gave is the answer of the Ri'af, Rabbi Yoshiao Pinto. I'm sure you know the Babasari family, the Pinto family. They're big Kabbalists for 400 years. So Rabbi Yoshiao Pinto says he wasn't they ate non-kosher food. Like he said very, very beautifully, that Achashverosh made that party because, when the Jews went to Galus, to exile, there was known from Yirmiyahu 70 years of exile. They didn't know when the 70 years starts. So Achashverosh thought the 70 years are over. Hey, Jews didn't get saved. That means Jews don't get saved anymore. He brought all the vessels of the temple and he was drinking wine from the golden cups. So the Jews going there, they were saying, we don't care that Beit HaMikdash doesn't get built. That's from Rabbi Yoshiao Pinto. Fantastic answer. He gives another answer, and that is, people of Shushan that went to the meal, they also bowed down to the idol. But you guys ever happen somebody crosses the red light and the cop catches him?
Yeah.
Once they take his license, oh my gosh, he did this felony, that felony, this murder, and they put him in jail. So the second answer that they give is, the Jews in Shushan went and enjoyed the meal, but because they enjoyed the meal, the previous sin which was bound down to the idol, that resurfaced again. We're going to learn a third answer before I hear what you guys want to say. The third answer is the deepest. That's what we're going to discuss today. Go ahead.
Wasn't like the Jews? Didn't the Jews bow down to the idol because they were afraid for their lives?
Right, but that's the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem.
Yeah, I get that, but like that was just like an appearance. They didn't really believe God.
Right, so that's what the Gemara answers. That's why actually they didn't get destroyed once they did tshuva, because it wasn't really from the bottom of their heart. Yes, sir. He just said that. That's why the tshuva helped. Otherwise, they would have gotten destroyed. Anyways, guys, so let's go through the third answer. This is actually honestly, guys, this is probably one of the deepest, one of the best answers we're going to go. There is a medrash. The medrash says that the existence of the Jews is like a sheep amongst 70 wolves, right? Noah had 70 children, whatever it is, right? 71. One of them were the Jews that come from Shem. The rest of the nations come from Noah. Those are the 70 nations. Now it says really the Jews, the sheep, so to speak, and the rest of the nations are like the wolves. Now, God forbid, the Medrash doesn't mean all the nations are like that. What the Medrash means is there are times in the history, like during World War II, there are times in history that nobody cares about the Jews. You're like one sheep amongst 70 nations. That's what happened during World War II. Nobody raised a finger to help the Jews. Even America, you know that afterwards they went and they made the war. Do you know that 2 ships came from Germany full of Jewish kids, and the Americans sent it back to Europe? They got killed. They didn't go into World War II until they actually attacked Pearl Harbor. So then they went to save their own skin, and they became the freedom people that has saved the Jews. But in the beginning, even America didn't raise a finger. So then the Midrash asks, if there's such situations in history, how could the Jews exist? If you put one sheep among 70 wolves, impossible to live. There's no way. So the Gemara says, because Gadol Haroya, if you have 70 wolves, but there is a shepherd that stands with a gun and is going to scare the wolves, they're going to run away. So the Gemara says, yes, we are like the sheep, you are the passive people. But Gadol Haroya, God is so great, He's such a great shepherd. The words of the Medrash is Shemeshamranu Matzilan. God actually guards them and he saves them. So He guards them not to attack, and if they do attack, He's going to save them. What do we see from this Medrash, people? That our existence is supernatural. According to laws of nature, Jews should not exist. We should be gone by now. As we said last week, Mark Twain was saying, that you have these Romans that came for 300 years, assimilated, not here. The Greeks came for 200 years, not here anymore. You had the Persian Empire, they were like for 300-400 years, not here anymore. But the Jews being 0.2 of the world and being persecuted until, we got land of Israel back. Thank God to God's kindness and our soldiers. Up to 75 years ago, there was no land of Israel either in our, as a Jewish land. It was Jewish land all the time, but other nations were ruling on it. So how did the Jews exist? That's what he asks. He doesn't know. It's a mystery. But the point is that we exist. Our existence is supernatural. But that's only if the Jews rely on the protection of God. What happens if I feel I don't need the protection of God? Nations are nice, they're civilized. The Germans will take care of us. US will take care of us. If we take our trust from God, so then we fall back into laws of nature. What does nature say? One sheep cannot exist among 70 wolves. You understand that? God forbid, the intention of the rabbis are not to say bad about other nations. They're teaching us our existence is supernatural. If we have God's protection, the 70 wolves won't attack. If a Jew decides to say, I don't need God anymore, chas v'shalom, so then you fall back into laws of nature. The existence is impossible. This is what the Gemara means. If the Jews would have gone to the meal because they had to, there would be no problem. You have to. What, are you going to tell the king, I don't give a darn about your food? And the food was kosher, according to the Gemara. No problem. The problem was they enjoyed it. What does it mean they enjoyed it? Look, wow, fantastic. Look what a great king we have. He even invites us as Jews to enjoy. They said, you're not going to get destroyed anymore under such a king. You're going to have a fantastic life. They forgot that the protection is God. So it wasn't that God was punishing them because they ate non-kosher food. The opposite was kosher food. Them going to the meal, not because they were forced. but they enjoyed the meal. Look what a great country we got. What a fantastic country. What a fantastic king. He's going to protect us. So they took, that's what they thought, exactly. So they took their trust from the protection of God because they did. And at that time, Haman came. So then he decided to destroy the Jews. That's why when we reconnected, we realized that no man, no Haman, no Achashverosh, nobody loves us. It's only our God that loves us. They got protected, connected to God. So then the salvation came. This is a lesson for all of us people. We have seen it in history. Hitlers have come, and the Crusaders came, and now you have, the children of Ishmael that they attack us, right? From the river to the sea, right? All this garbage that they say. It's a very, very testing time, very scary time. But we have to remember, Gadol Haroya, we have to put our trust in our shepherd, in God, and he's so great, as the Midrash says, Shemeshamron